There are moments in life, moments when you make a decision, and with that decision, everything changes. You find yourself standing on the edge of a road with no return. That moment is when everything begins. That night was exactly one of those nights for me, loneliness. It was the only thing that had been eating me up for days. Weeks, maybe even years. I was 54, but my soul felt much older. There was no love or passion left in my marriage. Albert had long since stopped touching me. My 65-year-old husband spent his days dozing off on the couch, in the living room nights either sleeping in his study or just busying himself with other things. He was aging right before my eyes, but it wasn't just him. I was withering away too. I felt trapped in this house. The anger growing inside me was turning into helplessness. I wanted to scream just to be noticed. But Albert wasn't listening. He didn't see me. That's why that night I picked up my phone and called Hector. Albert's nephew, 27 years old. Young, full of energy, and the only person who looked at me with real attention. Maybe the only one who truly understood me. When he answered, my voice was shaking, but I held on to my anger. "Hector, come here. Take care of your uncle. I'm leaving this house." I didn't even know why I said it. Did I really want to leave? Or was I just waiting for someone to stop me? I knew Albert wouldn't care. But Hector, his voice changed. He understood. Because I had told him about my loneliness so many times before. Hours later, when the door opened, I saw Albert sleeping on the couch. His indifference fueled my anger even more. But Hector, he walked straight into my bedroom. My hands were trembling as I zipped up my suitcase. I was carrying the weight of my anger, my loneliness, and my disappointment. But there was a voice inside me. Did I really want to leave? Or was I just making a dramatic exit, hoping someone would hear my loneliness? I heard the door open, and when I turned my head, I saw Hector stepping inside. There was concern in his eyes, but behind that concern, something else was hiding. "Diana," he said, his voice soft but firm, "you shouldn't go. I know everything feels like it's too much right now, but we can work through this." I turned my back to him and kept closing my suitcase, but the sharpness in my voice had started to fade. "Work through this," I whispered. "Albert doesn't even care whether I'm here or not." "Nothing will change," Hector sighed and took another step closer. "Don't think like that. You know how we've been lately. It hasn't just been about talking, has it?" My body froze for a second. Yeah. When he was around, it wasn't just about talking. There was something else between the lines. But we had never crossed that line. Slowly, I turned around. Hector was looking at me, and in his eyes, there wasn't just concern anymore. I could see it. He wanted me. Hector's presence had always filled the room with energy. He was 27, young, strong. His shoulders were broad, his jawline sharp. But his smile was warm. He always spoke calmly. But his eyes told a different story. He was the only one who made me feel things I hadn't felt in so long. I knew what he thought of me. The fact that I was Albert's wife didn't change anything. His eyes always scanned me from head to toe, and I could hear that quiet sigh he tried to hide. And I noticed it. He was the only man who made me realize that I was still a woman, who could be desired. Before this story excites you any further, please support me by subscribing to my channel and turning on notifications. That way you'll get to these stories even faster. If you drop a super like and leave a comment, I'd be truly grateful. I wasn't in denial either. When I looked in the mirror, I knew I still saw an attractive woman. Years had passed, but I hadn't lost my beauty. My skin was still vibrant, my body still firm and shaped, and Hector was the only one who had truly noticed that. He was trying to stop me, but at the same time he wasn't. And suddenly I realized I didn't want to go. My anger, my loneliness, all of it was shifting into something entirely different. Hector took another step toward me, his fingers barely grazing my hand. "Don't do this, Diana," he said, his voice low, deep, almost like an echo. "I'm here, and if you leave, you won't really be doing it because you want to." My breathing turned uneven. I completely forgot about the suitcase. I knew I didn't want to leave. But the reason I was staying wasn't Albert. The way Hector was looking at me. That intense stare completely froze me in place. The space between us had shrunk dangerously so. At that moment, something inside me sparked. Tonight was going to be the night something changed for me. But what and how? Even I didn't know yet something had already shifted. The loneliness that had felt like an empty void inside me was slowly being filled by Hector's presence. I realized I didn't want to leave. But it wasn't for Albert. I didn't want anything from him anymore. Hector noticed how my thoughts were shifting. He hesitated for a second. I saw panic flash in his eyes. He thought he had crossed a line. "Look, Diana." He started, his voice a little rushed. "I'll talk to Albert, maybe we can fix things." I cut him off immediately. "No, Hector," I said, my voice now calm. He looked surprised. "But you just said." I took a deep breath and slowly unzipped my suitcase again. I hadn't fully closed it before, but now I was opening it completely. Hector studied my eyes carefully, hesitated for a moment. "You really think I'm gonna beg for Albert's attention?" I said sharply. "You think I'm gonna ask for something from a man? I haven't felt anything in years." "No, Hector. That chapter is closed for me." Hector averted his gaze, looking down at the floor. My words had struck him. He slowly nodded. "All right," he said. "I won't, but Diana, you've always been a woman who deserves attention. You're smart and you're beautiful. The fact that you've been ignored..." I wondered what he really wanted to say, but I didn't ask because I already knew. "Albert," I said softly. "He's gone on Saturday, 2 days from now. Until then, act like you're just here for a visit." Hector tried to figure out why I was saying this. "Why?" he asked. I took a few steps toward him, closing the distance between us. I wanted him to understand that I wasn't running from what I felt tonight because I want to open up to you first, I said, and that one sentence changed everything between us. For those 2 days, Hector played his role perfectly. He acted like he was just here for a short visit. Albert, as expected, noticed absolutely nothing, and me time dragged on painfully slow. The fake conversations, Albert pretending everything was normal. Watching Hector's quiet anger grow inside him. It all suffocated me. Even talking about it now makes my chest tighten, because those 2 days were completely pointless. But whatever the real day that mattered was Saturday. Albert packed his bags early in the morning. I had never seen him so eager to leave before. He hadn't even bothered to tell me. "I'm leaving in the past few days." Just like he had for years. He moved through life as if I didn't exist. Hector left early to take him to the airport. I assumed he'd go quietly and come back the same way. But I was wrong by the time evening rolled around. Hector was back, but the moment he walked in, I knew something was different. Normally, whenever he saw me, there was always warmth in his eyes, but now they were burning with anger. "Diana," he said, his voice tense. He didn't even take off his coat before walking straight toward me. I sat down on the couch unimpressed. "What happened?" I asked. Hector shook his head, frustration written all over his face. "You were right," he said heatedly, like he was still trying to process it all himself about what I asked. Even though I already knew the answer, Hector took a deep breath before speaking quickly. He said he'll be back Monday morning. He's leaving the country to go hunting with an old friend. They're gonna spend time in the woods just like the old days. Albert's usual carelessness didn't surprise me, but for Hector it was the last straw.